Thank you. That's it. 6 minutes. We're like that, Vlad. Don't worry. We're all late. No, so. All right. Good morning. With the help of Hashem, we are learning Yerushalmi Brachas. We are learning Perek Beis, Halacha Gimel. In the Ois V'Hadar's edition, we are learning today Daf Chaf Aleph, and we left off on Daf Chaf Amid Beis, 2 lines before the bottom of the Amid. We started yesterday to learn the sugya of tefillin. Firstly, while wearing the tefillin, one needs a guf naki, and as we spoke out, guf naki is referring to something physical, not to vent air, certainly not to go to the bathroom while wearing the tefillin. And we also learned that while wearing the tefillin, one needs to have kavana. Kavana means you have to have your mind on the fact that we have an article of such tremendous kedusha on our bodies, to the point that we spoke about certain great people that not only while they were sick would they not wear tefillin, because they couldn't have the kavanah that they expected of themselves, but after the illness, for 3 days, since illness takes that amount of time, it takes us 72 hours for the illness to fully leave the body, as we learned, they would not put on tefillin because they felt that they have a lack of kavanah. Now, really, tefillin should be worn the entire day if one could. The Gemara made a point to say that it used to be that if someone observed the other wearing tefillin the whole day, that was a sign that they were holy people, they were greater people, they were pious people. When it comes, for example, in the context of, are you a chavet or are you an amaretz? Can I trust the produce that I buy from you? Is it tithed or is it demai? It used to be, if that person is wearing tefillin the whole day, he's a trustworthy person. And tragically, at the times of Talmud Yerushalmi, the Gemara makes a point to say that people became deceiving people. They wore tefillin the whole day, and they were not trustworthy people. So it's no longer a sign as to where they are. That's where we left off with a quick chazar. And now we're going to learn about various Tanoim and Amoraim that did continue to wear tefillin the whole day, to the point, as we'll see, like Rabbi Yechanan, even though these words are not written in the Talmud Yerushalmi, but we have them written elsewhere, he would not even go 4 amas without wearing tefillin. Yes?
The deceivers, were they deceivers religiously or for sure? Were they just ignorant?
So let me say like this, Vlad, I don't know, they were not ignorant. That they were well, there are people that are very pious in certain parts of Yiddishkeit, and they're not yet pious at all in other parts of Yiddishkeit. That's more or less, that's a new phenomenon that began there. Because at Aguta Fruma, he wears tefillin the whole day, but a guy entrusted him with an article, he denied him ever received. Now we're going to learn on Daf Chaf Aleph the sugya of what brachas do we make for tefillin. It's going to be mamash amazing, because when we learned this in the Babli, in the Gemara over there, spoke about the Allah Haniach tefillin on the hand as we do it, the Al Mitzvahs tefillin on the Rosh as we do it. If we do it, we're going to have the text here will be mamash the opposite, and we're going to review when we learn it Bekitzer the machlokes between Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam. It's really Rashi and many others, including the Rambam and the Rabbeinu Tam and many others. Do we make 1 bracha? Do we make 2 brachas? Okay, our minhag is that if we do not interrupt between the Yad and the Rosh, we only make 1 bracha, but we'll get to that when we learn the sugya. There's going to be an amazing opinion that says that while someone removes the tefillin, they make a bracha while removing the tefillin. We'll see why. We'll see why really it's subject to a machlokes Tanoim, whether tefillin should be worn at night. May it be worn at night? Should tefillin be worn on Shabbos and on Yom Tov? Sources that we do not wear tefillin on Shabbos and on Yom Tov. And if we'll have enough time, we're going to actually learn one opinion, which gives the appearance of, which could be, there's a Havamina, that there is a Tana that holds that night is the time for tefillin and Shabbos and Yom Tov is the time for tefillin, which therefore means women will be obligated to wear tefillin. because women are exempt from tefillin if tefillin is a mitzvah aseh shazman gerama. What would make it into a zman gerama? Oh, Laila lav zman tefillin. Shabbos and Yom Tov is lav zman tefillin. And by the way, even according to that opinion, that approach, that tefillin is something that has to be worn day and night, Shabbos and Yom Tov, and therefore women are obligated. Even there is a place to say that the Chachamim disallowed women from wearing tefillin. Certainly, if tefillin is a mitzvah aseh shazman gerama, as we paskin, then not only should women are women not obligated, but they should certainly not wear tefillin because of guf naki, as we will explain when we learn the sugya. So without any further ado, in our Gemaras on Daf Chaf Amid Beis, second to last line on Daf Chaf Amid Beis. Says the Gemara, beginning with Tanoim. This is mamish gavaldik, as you'll see. This is not the Gemara you learned in Yeshiva. Rabbi Yechanan ben Zakai, lo yehaven tefillin zo in minei. Tefillin would never budge from him. And what does that mean? Loi b'kaita, neither in the summer, loi b'sisva, neither in the winter. What summer and winter got to do with tefillin? So as we have been learning, that they used to wear tefillin the whole day, mamish. So when it's cold, we're wearing when it's hot, you wanna cool your body. The straps that you put around your arm is almost like an added layer of clothing. When you are cold and you need to cover your head when it's really cold, cover the head to a certain degree, even though the tefillin could have been smaller, the head is exposed. So one might have thought, you're not mechuyev to wear it the whole day. We learned yesterday, when you say the Shema, you wear it. Machlokes, when you say the Shemona Esrei, you wear it as we do the whole day. It's an added level of, you have to be pious, and you have to be able to keep a guf naki, and you have to be able to keep kavana. So one would think that if it's very hot, very cold, it's very uncomfortable, don't do it. Nevertheless, he will do it. That was Rabbi Yechanan ben Zajac. And V'chein Nohag Rabbi Eliezer was speaking about Tanoim, that Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph, who is Talmid Yacharo. Not only was this something that was still Nohu, Bisman Hatanoim, let's move on a little bit to the next era, to the Amoraim, Rabbi Yechanan. That already depended. So first we're going to read the girsa that we have inside, then we're going to read the Pnei Moshe that has the opposite version. To have a chozik reshe, where his head was strong. In other words, he was, according to this version, adversely affected by the heat. And you have to have kavanah. So during the winter, where he was not affected that way, then have a lavish tarvayon. He would wear both the arm and the head. But in the summer, according to our girsa now, in other words, his head was not strong. He was somehow affected in not a good way by the heat. He would only wear it on his arm. He would not wear it on his head. Okay. So first of all, we see over here already that as we paskin, it's two separate mitzvahs. Of course, he should do both. But it's shaykh to wear just the arm. As really, the din is, if you don't have a hand tefillin, you can wear only the head. Anyways, that is our girsa. The Pnei Moshe, let's go to the Pnei Moshe, 7 lines from the top of the Amid, has the opposite girsa regarding Rabbi Yechanan. The Yesh Garson, look at it's 9 lines from the top of the Amid, the middle of the Pnei Moshe. The Yesh Garson beheper, that really with Rabbi Yechanan, it was the opposite, which is that Bekaita during the summer, they have a choshish bereishe, fakert, where he had no such a, the heat did not affect him. He would wear both. But during the winter, to have a choshish bereishe machmas akur, it's easier to understand that. Cold would make him ill. And I think, I don't know, I heard this, like 70% of your body heat goes out through the head. If it's true or not, this is not Torah. This is something that I heard. Maybe something that's amid, which is why it's so important when you live in these, the Russians, Zajac, they mamish would have very good headgear. They would cover the heads and maybe they cover the tip of the ears. It makes a big difference. So it's him not to get cold. They have a lavish. He would only put up the arm. Oh, it's maybe pasha to be. It's hard to understand and see is how. Anyway, that's something that at least I can relate to. Be that as it may, Rabbi Yechanan was attempting to wear it the whole time, but whenever he was adversely affected, then he would only wear it during David. Okay, very good. You're making very good points. And I'll tell you like this, that the armed tefillin need not be exposed. Could you speaking this out? However, the armed tefillin is another layer of clothing. The head tefillin should not be covered. The head tefillin is not allowed to be covered. Parenthetically, we're going to learn the sugya, as we said today. What happens on Rosh Chodesh? Do we not wear tefillin? We wear tefillin not during Musaf. And what happens if someone in the shul came, davened b'avoid, not he came, no one comes late, he's davening very long, and by the time the Baal Tefillah is up to the repetition of Musaf, he's wearing his tefillin. So taka we cover the head tefillin for the statement of Kesef. Here he has Kikiyadu. Otherwise, we don't do that. Very good. Now it's mashma that they, other than this detail of the summer, the heat, they mamish wore it the whole day. I think there is another Chazal somewhere, it must be in Talmud Bavli, that says that Rabbi Yechanan never walked Daled Amis without tefillin. And the problem will be that people used to bathe, unlike today where we have running water. People used to bathe, let's say, once a week before Shabbos. And for that, they used to go into bathhouses. And as we're going to read soon, over here, the way it worked. Don't forget, this was written in Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael was occupied by the Romans. Bathhouses were of public nature. And it's amazing how in those days, there used to be Goyisha bathhouse attendants for the Goyisha clients, Yiddish bathhouse attendants for the Yiddish clients. Every bathhouse would have 3 rooms, as we'll see today, as we'll see tomorrow. We started a few minutes late. There was the outermost room. Normally, it was there that people ungarb themselves. There was a middle room, we'll see soon. And then there was the inner room where there was Pashat, the bath itself, the schwitz itself. So, fragt die Gemara, no, it's Rabbi Yechanan, no wore tefillin the whole time. However, one is not allowed to wear tefillin if one's nakedness is exposed. Now you can answer, okay, so big deal. So he took off his tefillin before he entered the bathhouse. So you have to add that. It's not just he wore it the whole time. He didn't walk Dalet Amis without tefillin. Normally you would get ungarbed in the outer room. In the outer room, you are more than 4 amas away than from the bath itself. So for that, says the Gemara. Now, the truth be told, that this kasha could have been asked on Rabbi Yechanan ben Zajac. They also, again, it's not here. They never walked Dalet Amis, Ein Chanami. But the Gemara Talmud Yerushalmi was written. They were no longer around. We knew what Rabbi Yechanan did. How he never walked Dalet Amis without tefillin, even when he needed to go bathe. So basically, he did whatever he heard was done by Rabbi Yechanan ben Zajac. How did they do that? So Amar Rab Chia bar Abba, I'll tell you what happened. That Pi Karsin Hoyolovish Miyufne. Most people then, as Moshe Rabbeinu did, men and women, the begodim was a robe, as it's called by some, jalaba. That's a modest garment. Modest garment means because it doesn't show the form of your body. There was a time that men wearing pants was equally just as not modest as a woman, who makes ataka no difference. I'm not talking about malbush of a man versus a malbush of a woman. Modesty. They wore jalaba, and they wore nothing underneath. The jalaba needed to be removed in the outer room. What Rabbi Yechanan did when he went to the bathhouse, for him to be able to chop another few steps still wearing the tefillin, he did a novelty. He would wear undergarments. That's normal today. What was the advantage of him wearing the undergarments? That even when he would remove his robe in the outer room in the bathhouse, that was something that you had to do. It was a certain decorum. But since he was still wearing undergarments, that allowed him to still keep the tefillin. That's the Api Karsin. And Kad Hava Ozil Mischei. So even when he went to bathe, that's the Mischei, he remained with his tefillin in the outermost room. Now, in the middle room, you had the bathhouse attendants that are called the Ul Yodin. Kivin Shehoyam Ageh, it's Ul Yodin. In the middle room, and in the middle room, guys, the innermost part of the inner room was within Dalet Amis of the bath in the innermost room. In the media room, if you ungarb yourself next to the door of the innermost room, you're within Dalet Amis. Your problem, obviously, very good, is only your own nakedness. That's a very good point Rabbi Chaim is making, because everyone in the inner room normally was already ungarbed. I we started late, but I want to read it inside because it's very interesting the way they did it. So he writes like this. Look inside the Charedim. That and that's something which we have to repeat because the Gemara is going to speak about this, whether we'll get to today or not, but we're going to have to go through this. In the outermost room, they would get undressed. And they would go with their garments in their hands in the medium room. What would be in the middle of the room? Over there, they would give it. Look how we were segregated. You needed to trust them. Who says you'll get your pants back? There are certain Hasidic Yidden, Ein Kanamakim, that was their minig. If they had an axe to grind, they would take the pants away from someone in the mikveh and whatever that was. And v'goyim l'goyim. And then, in other words, you undressed, you walk with your stuff into the medium room. In the medium room, that's where you gave it to the bathhouse attendants. So says the Charedim v'sipir abchiyam, that Rabbi Yechanan, he used to wear the pikarsin, which is something which we call undergarments, a big chiddush. And if you only were wearing undergarments, then the goyim did not care if you didn't take it off in the outermost room. You got away with it. In other words, he did something that would allow him to go to the middle room while still wearing something. And why were they allowed? Because certain people are very cold people. There was no heaters. That imagine in the winter, even though that they lived in Tveria and Nishkeferlach, but still when it's very cold, you have no heating. You go to the outermost room. The closer you get to the inner room, the warmer you are, the closer you are to the steam. And I'm finishing now in the Charedim, in the first one under the Gemara. Rabbi Yechanan Zariz. He wouldn't wear undergarments, but when he would go to the bathhouse, yes, why? What was the kavanah? Because he was naked. When he would come to the middle room, that's where you had the bathhouse attendants, the shamashim. Dear Poishet Bigodav, the choylet's tefillin. I just have a kasha on the seder of the Charedim, right? It should have been choylet's tefillin, Poishet Bigodav. U'moisrim la Yehudim Hashem. Okay, that's it. Now says the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, that Ad Yaakov Tor Musra, the word Tor Musra means Tor Musr, the one who assigns turns. And this Yaakov, this guy, was actually in the inner room. Not that Rabbi Yechanan took it off in the medium room, but he was able, they allowed him to wear it until he got to Yaakov Tor Musra Hayalev Sham, which is quite amazing. In other words, there was actually a exception that they made for Rabbi Yechanan. That's the two versions. Rabbi Yechanan was the big leader, and according to this, because of his piety, and they knew that he wants to wear tefillin, he doesn't want to walk daladamas without tefillin. They mamash allowed him even to enter in there. He would get on guard, mamash in the by the mikvah itself. Says the Gemara. When Rabbi Yechanan would leave mischei from the bath, from bathing, they would give it back to him. Just like he would take it off the last second, he would want it back right away. The chad have a mice lay, when they would bring it to him, and sometimes they would tarry, they wouldn't bring it to him quick enough. So Hava Amar Domilsa, he would say the following thing. And he would say it almost every time. That what? That Shnei Aroinos there were two Aroinos that would go to Eden for the 40 years we were walking around in the Midbar. The Aroinos shall Chei Hoilamim, the Holy Ark. Whenever we would travel, we would go with the Holy Ark and the Aron of Yosef Atzadik. And the Goyim would ask, and this is the Aron Shel Yosef that's going with Aron Shel Chei Olam, which is quite strange, right? To have a casket together with the Aron HaKodesh. The word moinen, just to know, it's this word you have in many other places, right? That they make fun of us. And Paraduma, they make fun of us. What are these chukim? They would laugh at us. And we would say, yes. By the way, just for the record, when the Mishkan was set up, a mace is not allowed to be brought into the Machna Shechina. A mace is allowed to be brought into the Machna Leviyah. That's the unique dinim. Today, Machna Leviyah is Harabayis. That's why Tamei Mace is allowed to go on Harabayas. Ironically, a person who was only Moitzi Zera, and certainly a Zav, Tuma Hayoytze Megufay, they're not allowed to enter Machna Leviyah. You have to go to the mikveh, you have to wait until it's night. But at Tamei Mace, that's why nowadays, when we know exactly where is not the Makeh Mu'azara, we are allowed to go on Harabayas, as the Rambam did, as he wrote, V'chulei, which is amazing. And when we learned the Gemara in Bavli, we were speaking about how can it be that a Balkedi cannot even be a Machna Leviyah. We asked a question that it took us a couple of days to get to. How did the Leviyim have a normal marital life? They lived in Machna Leviyah. That means when a man was, what happened? That was a great question. And we really shopped around with the greats of the people that I know. And I think it was Rabbi Ullman, someone found, or it was Rabbi Lev Shapiro. They found where this is discussed, and they write that it must be that in Machna Leviyah itself, there were two parts. It was the innermost part of Machna Leviyah, where Moshe Rabbeinu was. Moshe Rabbeinu was never with his wife for the last 40 years of his life. That is where we say that even a Balkedi cannot be a Machna Leviyah. But there must have been the outer part of Machna Leviyah where the Leviyim had a normal life as a married couple. And it was back over here. So I was saying is that when is there a Machna Shechina when the curtains around the Mishkan are erected? The moment we began to travel, the moment we took down the Kaloye HaMishkan, then there is no more Machna Shechina. Then they would put the Aron of Yosef taka together with the Aron of the Eibishter. Now, why would Rabbi Yechanan always repeat this matter? So Amar Rabbi Chanina begin Meimar Mila de Oirasa because he wants to speak words of Torah. What are you talking about? You can't speak words of Torah when you're naked, when you're in the bath. Right away, he was dying to learn. But the question is, why? Why this? Amalei Ravmana, that was not my question. That's the right answer. He had no other Torah than this. Imagine a person repeats the same Torah every single time. No, there must have been something that he was trying to say with this. So the Gemara says, you're right. Ela kenturin havoin. Kenturin means he was rebuking, says the Charedim. He wanted to say something to rebuke the Goyim. The Loimar, that Yosef loizacha l'malchus, Ela al yidei shishim and mitzvahs of Shalach Kodesh Baruch. It wasn't just that he merited to go around in the wilderness together with the Aron HaKodesh. Why did he become a king? Because of his adherence to the mitzvahs. In his case, particularly, right? And that's why he's called that tzaddik. The word tzaddik is connected to someone who's shomer habris. And so it says that we, the Jewish people, only merited to be chosen by God. Ella al yidei sheshomarnu mitzvahs shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, va'atem boyim mevatlam mitzvasen minan, and you are trying to take away our mitzvahs, as the Charedim writes on the bottom, that look inside the Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph, all the way in the bottom. Sheyavinu hagoyim shegoyzim shemad al mitzvahs. The Romans constantly had religious edicts against the Jewish faith, as we learned, for example, in Shabbos, that there was a Gzeira Shema Shalei Laniach Tefillin. They made a specific Gzeira Shalei Laniach Tefillin. Remember that Yoina Balkin Afayim, that whole miracle that he took with his tefillin, and they asked him what's in your hands, and he says it was doves and v'kachava, which is Gavaldik. That's why I think the Charedim kept on emphasizing that you had Goyish bathhouse attendants. Also interesting that if you want to make a protest against the government edicts, sometimes the way you do it is in the mikveh. Like he had a time on the Romans. He was angry that the Romans kept on persecuting the Jews. So make a peaceful demonstration. No, he talked about it in the mikveh. And there's something about Adayim Azeh. If you want to fix everything in the world, you talk about it in the mikveh, and somehow it makes its way up the chain. I don't know. And he felt that was effective. Okay, now we're starting the next topic, which is what bracha do you make on tefillin? No.
It's emotional that you're in the bathroom, the actual part before you get to where you make it.
Very good. I'm happy you bring that up. So, kids, I don't know, but this is important questions. In the times of Chazal, there was a big difference between a bathroom and a bathhouse because there's two issues. One is nakedness. And there, by the bathhouse, if you're not in the innermost room, you're not naked yet, you're not naked, you're good. There's another big issue, and that is bad odor. Big issue in Allah. And therefore, when Chazal speak about a bathroom, they don't, David, allow you to wear tefillin within daladamas of a bathroom. They don't allow you to do that. But all of the poskim except from when we had the, the plumbing, that nowadays, there's nothing wrong of having a bathroom, as many shuls have it, right? People can stand with towels and tefillin, like over here, right next to the bathroom. That there were certain opinions that wanted to say you have to put a mezuzah up on a bathroom, outside, but on the bathroom. Because one of the cleanest places in a person's home could be the bathroom. People are making it depends if you have little kinderlach or very old men. I know, yesh v'yesh. But because of the cleanliness of today, we go, so now there's no odor, there is no odor issue. Now it's only a nakedness issue. For that, you have to have a mechitza. There's no more nakedness. Very good. Now, be'ezeh tzad. I want you to know that this means ketzad. Actually, there's so many different gersois here. Some people have in the Yerushalmi here the words ketzad. But let's go to our Shvittins. Geschmack, it's a different way of talking. Be'ezeh tzad hu mevarach aleim. So Rab Zrika, Shem Rabbi Yaakov Beridi, says like this: Yod Mahu Omer. I'm reading the Gemara, and then we're going to read the Shinu Neschais, which will change this. Our Gemara writes that what bracha do you make? And guys, don't buckle your seatbelts. It's good you came just for this. Baruch, that's an abbreviated Baruch. It means Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam. Because any bracha without Shem or Malchus is not a bracha. Sheked Hashem says Sivanu on the hand. Al mitzvahs tefillin. So all of the bar mitzvah bachrim that give all of the pilpulim, why do we say lohaniach and al pashat it's late? All of that gets swept away. It's the opposite. And when you put on the tefillin, shoroish mahu baruch, again an abbreviated baruch, al, it's a little bit mitzvahs hanachas tefillin. How great is that? Now, if you can look inside the Shinu Neschais, and he brings that the mamish the opposite, as you'll see over here. He makes our nusach aligned with the nusach that we have in Menachas. This sugi is in Menachas, right? In Perek HaKoymet Tzedabo, Menachas Lamed Vav. And quickly, before we go on, I want to remind everyone the following. We learned this, hopefully, we learned this properly, at least the general shittus. And that is like this, that there's something that the Gemara writes in Menachas Lamed Vav that's not mentioned here, which is, if you can read inside the Rash Sirilio in the bottom, in the beginning. So he says that over there, the Gemara adds another layer, which is that all of this, kishasach ben tayim. Once our Gemara is basically telling us that you make two brachas. Do we make two brachas? We don't make two brachas. So he's quoting really Shitas Rashi over there, Menachas, which is Avo loy sach eina mevarach ala achas l'shtein. He's not addressing the nusach. Now, what the Rashi Rilio is doing is that he's arguing with the other Achronim that hold that our Gemara is a raya to the Rabbeinu Tam. Because our Gemara never mentioned speaking or not speaking. In the Gemara Menachas, the Gemara speaks about speaking or not speaking. And Rashi learns pshat over there the way we do it. If you don't talk, you make one bracha. You make two brachas. The Rabbeinu Tam in Menachas Lamed Vav argues with Rashi. And he says you always make two brachas. And that will be a backup to the Rabbeinu Tam. You always make two brachas. Elomam, you only make two brachas if you don't talk. If you talk, then you make both brachas again on the sharosh. The chap. Or if a person doesn't have the shalyat, you only have a shalrosh. So the Rabbeinu Tam says, then you make both brachas. Let's go with the Shinu Neschais. You make first Lohaniach Tefillin, and then Al Mitzvah Tefillin, and then you put in the Tefillin Shalosh. Rashi does not subscribe to that. We paskin like Rashi. Many other, I think Ashkenazim paskin like the Rabbeinu Tam. And the question is the Yerushalmi, what's the Yeshittas of Yerushalmi? What the Rashi really is saying is that our Yerushalmi can go like Rashi. It's just that the Yerushalmi is bekitzit, it's brief, so it doesn't mention that layer of talking in between. Ke'ilu, it's a given. If you talk in between, then you have to make two brachas. But if you don't talk in between, then whenever bracha you make on the shal yad, whichever one it is, that one is good for both the yad and the shal reish. And so is the way we do it in Chabad. Now, another thing that you never heard. Did you ever hear of making a bracha when you take off the tefillin? You would only make a bracha for taking off the tefillin if you're obligated to take off the tefillin. Actually, we are learning that ideally, if you're pious, you should wear tefillin the whole day. Now, let me just say by heart like this. We should be familiar with these psukim because we say them. We should say them every day, almost every day. In Parshas Boy, we write like this: "V'shamarta es achuka hazois," that we should guard, or we should observe this choik, right? L'mayada miyamim yamima. What choik is that referring to? From day to day, machloikis, Rabbi Yossi Aglili, and Rabbi Akiva. Because what we had prior to that is tefillin and b'chlal the mitzvahs of Pesach, Korban Pesach. If this pasuk is going to refer to tefillin as holds Rabbi Yossi Haglili, and on that the Torah says guard this chukkah only in its appointed time. When is that? From day to day. That means that not at night. At night, don't wear the tefillin. So they would wear it the whole day, and they would remove it at night. We'll see a detail. You know when they would remove it at night? Listen to this. They would wear it up until Maitiv. They would wear it when they said Maitiv Shema and V'ahavta and V'hoyim Shemaya, because in V'ahavta and Shemaya we learned a few daf ago. There the Torah mentions, both we learned before about the mitzvah of reading the Shema, B'shach Chav Kumecha. There the Torah mentions the mitzvah of putting on tefillin. And prior to Vayomer, if they said Vayomer, they would take off the tefillin. And why would they take it off? Because it says Geshom Martes Achuk Azois L'mayada B'Yom Yomima. So they would make a bracha. Again, Hashem Elokeinu Malach Haolam. Asher Geshom says Tzvanu Lishmar Chuka. That's the Chuka. Geshom Martes Achuk Azois L'mayada. How great is that? That this chayk of tefillin only at the designated times. When is that? Miyavim. By Tov, Nish by Nach. However, you should know, says the Gemara, very nice. That bracha only fits the Asya Keman. We would say in the Bible, the Omar and the Aleph, Keman Demar, that the Chukas at tefillin are Kosav Medaber, which is Shitas Rabbi Yossi Aglili. However, Keman Demar, which means Keman the Omar, but according to the other opinion, which is this is in Bavli Eruvin Sadik Vav. Machlekes, these two Tanoim. Over there we had Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva says no, that the pasuk at the end that says V'shamarta Sachuk Azois L'Moyada is referring to Korban Pesach. The Chuk is at Pesach, which means according to Rabbi Akiva, guys, tefillin could be worn at night. Now we began yesterday Gufnaki. Gufnaki would mean that even according to Rabbi Akiva, at some point the Chachamim said don't wear it at night, because especially when you sleep, because when you sleep you cannot control physically that you're not going to vent air. Oh, then then it's not correct. Just like when you take off. Now another thing, I want to add another nuance. Even if tzitzis is not noyeg bayon. When you can see, not noyeg by night. It's just like no one held that you make a bracha when you take off your tzitzis, because you're not supposed to, you don't have to take off your tzitzis. But according to Rabbi Yossi Aglili, the fact that the Torah says you take it off, guard it, not to wear it, only from day to day. So if the Torah is telling you dafka not, according to him, that's when you would make a bracha. How fantastic is that? So that's another kasha. So first of all, in Yerushalmi they davened early. Let's go back to, you'll see. Now, Rabbi Bo, B'Shem Rabbi Elazar, says that Hanois and Tefillin Balayla, if you put it on at night, you're over ba'aseh. Oh, very good. So very good. So Rabbi Balana's question is going to be answered right now. We're going to make a point that let's go like Rabbi Yossi Aglili. V'shamarta Zachok means don't put it on during the night. Hanois and Tefillin Balayla over ba'aseh. Matam always means what's the source? Because let's go back. Yamim teaches you v'loy leilos. Now the word yamima, which is mamish superfluous, prat l'shabbasos v'yamim toivim, which is gavaldi. Okay, that's the limit over here. You have mi yamim in the Bavli. It was mi yamim. Mi yamim means not all the days, but anyways, that's the two limudim we have from this pasuk. It says the Gemara, hold on. Rabbi Bo was saying this in the name of Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Bo would sit and learn at night while wearing his tefillin. Because not only would he wear his tefillin the whole day, he would wear it into the night. So the Gemara says, yeah, he would not wear it in a kosher way. What does that mean? Mitzadadin have. He would place them to the side. Both the hand and the head have a place where they should be. And if they are off that place, you're not doing anything. Now, when you have to take off your tefillin today, we have a bag, we have cases. They didn't have it then. And even if they did, let me go better. It was just like he was holding it in his hand as safekeeping. I'm reading inside the Charedim. He was guarding it. He was guarding it. How would he guard it? He would keep it on him, but not halachically on him. That's answer number one. So Taki, he would be wearing a tefillin, but he would not be wearing a tefillin. Other people can say over here, other people say that he would wear it as a skula for shmira for him. Is the boy lameimar, because there is an aspect of shmira with tefillin. Not when you're wearing it, when you have it with you. Is another answer that when did the Rabbi say b'shem Rabbi Yelazar that if you wear tefillin at night, you're able to say that's if you're nois and tefillin by light, if you put it on the night. Then mutter. And by the way, according to this, you would also not make a bracha when you remove it. What we had before, that you make the bracha, that's only Rabbi Yossi Haglili, not like Rabbi Bo, that you cannot wear it at night. And by the way, according to that, you have to take it off. If you daven Shema later, you would take it off later. How great is that? Okay. I know it's late, but I push it to read this inside. And look inside the Charedim. The Charedim, the fourth line. This whole sugya is over there in Menachos. Even according to the Shita, if a person were to take off his tefillin during the daytime of the day, they would not make a bracha. Only if they would take it off at the end of the day, because that's how they are fulfilling the Shamartas Chukazois. Ubagois Maimin is Kosvu the Minik Hagoinim. The Zman Hagoinim, they still many people were tefillin the whole day. Lacholza, and here you go, but tefillas arvis, Achar Gamar Pashas Vayim Shemoyim. Great is that. And the Charedim writes from the Goinim, but Dafka tefillin the Buchoyv L'Salkan, Kedamer B'Samach Teiva Ba'asei, Mevarech Avot Tzitzis, B'Lei Mechayv L'Salkan. It's not every mitzvah that you're not Buchoyv doesn't mean you make a bracha. But according to one approach, you have to take it off. Now the Gemara says, and even though we had in this B'Shem Rabbi Elazar, that Yamima, the extra Yamima is coming to exclude tefillin from Shabbos and Yom Tiv, is the Boilam Eimar. There's another source that Nishma'ina Minada, when it says V'hoya l'chalois, tefillin is a sign for you. So say Chazal es shohu l'chalois, that if the tefillin is the ois, that is when you have to wear it. If it is the ois, but there are other times where there is something else that is a sign that we are God's people, a sign that we are connected to God. And that is Prat Liyam Tem Shabbos Ois, Shekulam Ois. How beautiful. Shekulam Ois. What's the Ois of Shabbos and Yom Tiv? Says the Pnei Moshe, the fact, the positive commandments of Shabbos and Yom Tiv is one thing. The fact that we are always bound not to do Malacha, the negative is the Ois. Not the covet, not the Oinig, not the Kapate. In other words, the observance, the whole Shabbos and Yom Tov is an ois. Because the whole Shabbos and Yom Tov, we have to refrain from doing malachas. The refrain is the ois. Now there's another, I forgot where that is, but we had another thing that really, it's like a testimony. And you have to have two edim. And the other mitzvah that's called an ois is the bris milah. So the bris milah we always have. So we need another test of witness. So either it's the tefillin or Shabbos and Yom Tov. You don't need three. Okay. Now asks the Gemara, hold on. Why are you quoting V'hoya l'cha? La'ois v'loi chen ksiv yamim yamima? The way we are going to learn pshat is, why do we need to have two sources for the same thing? Or it tell you even better, if God, when he wrote these words to teach you this halacha, why would God have to write it twice? And this is a very important answer, that there are many sayings of our sages that we're going to call a asmachta. And asmachta means that not every limud means that this is what God intended when he wrote that word. This word was written to teach you something else. But the chachamim who are telling you a certain way of being, because that's the way we have it in the Torah, they lean it on that pasuk. And actually, anything that's not written explicitly in the Torah, it's good to have more than one asmachta. That's the answer. So answers the Gemara that leis loch ella, this can only be resolved. Like, why do we have to have two sources Ella keye the Omar Rabbi Yechanan, which is that kol mila deloi machavra. The word machaber means white. It literally means any behavior that's not explicitly written in the Torah. Elama, we know it. We're not talking about rabbinic law. We're talking about godly law. But it's it was passed down orally from Moshe Rabbeinu. Mas michin law. We look to support it. Min atrein sagi, from many places. The more, the better. All right. Being that we started a few minutes late, we're going to stop over. I just want to say one thing before we'll take off tomorrow, and that is, we mentioned in the intro, it's all about guf naki, just to know the pshat, that as we will see, whether women are obligated midoraisa to wear tefillin, that will be only lamanda amrim, that you wear tefillin at night and Shabbos and Yom. We don't go with that. No, if tefillin is not a mitzvah man gerama, then biblically they're chayiv. Even there, the chachamim said the woman should not wear it because of guf naki. If women are exempt midoraisa because it's a mitzvah man gerama, other mitzvahs women can opt to keep. They can hear shofar. According to us, they actually make a bracha if they do so. They can go into sukkah. Tefillin they should not. Midrabanan. Why? Gufnaki. Just the meaning of gufnaki is that when women are younger, they have their monthly flow, they have their vesses, and that's something that they cannot control. In other words, a man cannot urinate, but you have to push, cannot defecate, and cannot vent here. That's the physical gufnaki. A man has biyochoilus to hold his bowels. That part of the teva of a woman is not in her ability. That's important to say because, as we'll see, Michal Bashol wore tefillin. L'choira, she wore tefillin at a later time of her life when, kol hanashim, whatever the age is, if it's 50, if it's 40, if it's 60, whatever it is, when that stops, then there's no difference, just to know what it means, because people have to know that it's not that they should erroneously think that Chazal are saying, well, women cannot control their bodies like men. It's not it's like that doesn't work. That's the meaning of gufnak. Remember, I had a conservative rabbi, Rebbitzin, however you call them, sitting by me in the house, and I had a younger son. Then my son was young, and she wanted to challenge me on the tefillin. I didn't want to even speak about it. I can't remember because she was saying about the gufnaki. They don't understand what I just said. So they feel very offended. It sounds like Chazal are saying that a man can hold his venting of the air and woman cannot. So I said, nah. I said that for women to put on film, they have to open up, expose their arm and uncover their hair. That's not modest. This came to me, I'm telling you, and she was so macabre. This is mamash. Oh, made up a new thing. See how you make up things. Good. All right.